Today marks 20 years since the United States and allied troops first launched their military mission in Afghanistan. More than 2,300 American forces and 46,000 Afghan civilians died during those decades of bloodshed. This, of course, comes as the United States faces growing criticism over its chaotic troop withdrawal and evacuation plan from the war-torn country. So for more on this, let's bring in retired Navy SEAL Commander Dave Sears. He is the author of Smarter, Not Harder, and he served multiple tours in Afghanistan. Dave, it's good to see you again. So 20 years, the United States no longer has a major military presence in Afghanistan. Let's talk about what happens tomorrow, the future. How concerned are you when it comes to securing not only Afghanistan, but also the United States from terrorist attacks amid growing fears of an ISIS or al-Qaeda resurgence, specifically within Afghanistan? In other words, that the Taliban would offer people who would seek to do us harm safe harbor within their borders.
Sure. I think that it is a great concern. However, it's a great concern across the world. There's a lot of safe havens that are out there. So what's the focus on Afghanistan? What's the proportionality of it? When you're trying to secure something, say a house, a compound, a neighborhood, you begin inside of that, right? You put alarms inside your house. And then after that, you secure the perimeter and the borders of your house or your neighborhood. And then you begin to expand out. I think right now we need to kind of do this withdrawal back to the homeland and begin the security outpush from there. Some of the problems that we're seeing with the border, just people unchecked coming across and things like that, and then begin to expand out and use a coalition of partners to start securing these other safe havens that are out there. But start internally and push out.
So according to the Cost of War Project, the Pentagon spent $14 trillion since the onset of the war in Afghanistan. And certainly there have been critics that have slammed the government for spending all that money, especially when you consider how quickly the Taliban was able to regain power. And then, a group that we thought, we would not see again, ISIS-K, actually manages to stage a terrorist attack. So I guess I have an overarching question. Was this money well spent?
No. Unequivocally, no. It is a travesty, and there's been a lot written on this, and it's been written over the years. So you can go whether it's Iraq or Afghanistan and other places, but those are the predominant ones. So you have the Special Inspector General's report that everybody can go look at online, and they should, on how bad the corruption was on both sides and the waste in spending. The same with Iraq. There's a great State Department book out there, a guy from the State Department called We Meant Well. And it just, when you read this, it's almost surreal to see the waste that was done. And we need different incentives. The behavior, the spending, and what we're doing from the United States perspective is incentivized by this military-industrial complex that is making tons of money. The generals and the admirals are making decisions that are not necessarily malicious, but have a huge conflict of interest in monetary gain.
So, Commander, let me ask you a question. Anne-Marie talked about the treasure. Let's talk about the tragedy as far as bloodshed is concerned. Not only, of course, our forces, but all those civilians who died. Just looking back at your time there, I wonder if we don't live in a world anymore where we could point to solid victories the way we were able to after World War I, after World War II, even after Korea, and in the wake of Vietnam, that we and our allies and other Western democracies fight these wars of attrition where it's not ever clear if anybody really wins or loses other than the families who've lost their loved ones. I mean, we can point to the fact that there hasn't been a terrorist attack launched from Afghanistan since the United States went to war there. But when you think back to your fellow brothers and sisters and all those Afghan civilians who worked with us to help us during our time there, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, that's the biggest resource that was wasted, is the human capital resource that we have. The loss of opportunity of those guys that were there and lost their lives or lost their living or are disabled now because of their service in Afghanistan or Iraq is just unbelievably tragic. And the loss to those families that are associated with them. For what purpose? I mean, you hit on it, Vlad. We have had great success in very discrete events. So things like Grenada, things like Gulf War I, where the goal was very defined and it was very short term and discrete. We do not play this infinite game well, where where we're in this long war. We lose that strategically. We win those tactical battles. The loss of human capital is a complete travesty, and it keeps occurring is the problem.
So, actually to that point, it keeps occurring, and the mistakes made and whether we'll repeat them. Certainly there's been a lot of criticism about, in regards to just how quickly Afghan forces fell and how quickly the Taliban was able to take over the country. The Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, was asked about this, and he acknowledged, some of the failures recently at a congressional hearing. I want to play a little of that sound.
We helped build a state, Mr. Chairman, but we could not forge a nation. The fact that the Afghan army that we and our partners trained simply melted away, in many cases without firing a shot, took us all by surprise, and it would be dishonest to claim otherwise.
We have heard the criticism of the Afghan military that there wasn't a will to fight or a lack of leadership. We've heard a lot of blame sort of land at their feet. And granted, it is their country. But I wonder if there's more to this story, more to it than that there were some failures on the U.S. part in terms of preparing them, or, you talk about just the way money was spent. It wasn't spent wisely in some cases. I'm wondering, what you think the mistakes were and whether we've learned at all from it when, as the U.S. is sort of leaving, they're pointing the finger back at the Afghan forces saying, well, I guess you just couldn't get it together.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, that's a great question. We should get on like a 3-hour long form podcast and maybe we can touch a little bit of it. The idea that nobody was surprised, that we were surprised by this is a complete falsehood. People have been saying this, the people on the ground, myself, others, soldiers that I served beside. We all knew that it was not working. Everybody knew that. So internally, our government, our leadership should be looking at themselves. What structures are in place that allow them and encourage them to keep saying everything's fine, everything's getting better? Those structures need to change. As for the Afghan people, I was with them. They fought very bravely, but ultimately they sensed the winds of change as well, and they're about survival. So the idea that they turn to the Taliban for security is no surprise either. The things that you can go over in that Special Inspector General's reports, again, available to everybody. The Afghan National Army that we trained and funded, the Afghan National Police, were very corrupt. They were causing more problems in the populace than the Taliban was. The Taliban was bringing security to the populace. Not pleasant, but it still gave them a form of justice. We gave them military equipment that was so technologically advanced, we were creating their army. And we knew this, and people were saying it all along for 18 years of the 20 that we were there at least. And it was ignored. What incentives caused our government, our military leadership to ignore that? Those structures, the oversight, the accountability is what needs to be changed.
Dave, before we let you go, could we, the United States, find ourselves back in Afghanistan is the first part of my question. And how willing would our allies be willing to join us should we have to go back into Afghanistan? So first, do you see us there, and will we be doing it alone, or could we count on those same allies like we did 20 years ago?
I can't predict that, Vlad. I would like to say we will not be back there. I can tell you for certain that my kids will not be back there, or ever go there. That said, we keep making these same mistakes because we have the same structures in place and the same motivations in place. Will the allies follow us? Again, it's all about the money. What money is there to be made? How are we? That's one way that we find a lot of criminals, a lot of corruption, is you follow the money. And when you start doing that, the economic incentives for a lot of people to go to war, to extended war, are there and exist. And the accountability over that doesn't exist. So I certainly hope that we don't go back. at least not in a big form. You can have small, discrete events. That is okay, but they're defined very well for a clear purpose.
Hey, Dave, you're right. We could do a podcast with you. I feel like we really just touched the surface on some of these issues, but I really appreciate you spending time with us. Dave Sears, thank you.
Thanks, Anne Marie.